Hello everybody and welcome to Let's Play Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. I said I wasn't going to be doing story-heavy games, but I really didn't want to jump right back into another Nuzlocke. And this is something entirely different. And you might be thinking, oh, this is going to go on forever. But then I would advise you to check the length of this video. I'm going to go into new game, just go to beginner. I don't know what I usually do here. I just mash through, I think. Let's go for manual. I don't want it to vibrate because it will just be annoying. I'm not going to be focusing too much on the actual story elements. Also, I'm going to really quickly, wrong button, a little bit more quiet out of the audio from the game, at least for me. I probably won't be talking over the cutscenes out of like a certain type of respect. Maybe add a little bit of a comment here and there. But I won't be editing the volume to like go up in the cutscenes and then go down for the normal gameplay again, because
I've been having these weird thoughts lately.
I just quite frankly don't feel like doing that. And everybody really knows the story, at least in a broad sense.
Is any of this for real? Or not?
And as far as like interesting stuff goes, I'll point it out and I won't skip the cutscenes. So that's that. So if you don't know the story yet, you can still enjoy it and you can still experience it, and I'll be able to comment on it, and maybe in a little bit of a spoilery way. Watching this Let's Play is not just a spoiler for Kingdom Hearts 1, because I'm going to be commenting on Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Days to a certain extent, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, quite a bit probably, Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep 0.2 of Fragmentary Passage I'll comment on a little bit. Kingdom Hearts 3D I'll probably comment on a fair bit, and then some recoded stuff as well. Though I probably will skip most of that. I'll be talking about all of those games. I'll be talking about every game that has been released up until this point. Including Union, Cross or whatever. What is the full-length movie called in 2.8? There's so many different collections in this franchise at this point, I can't remember them all. Also, what you're hearing right now is probably a remix, and oh my god, I'm going to mute my microphone. Not on my microphone, I'm going to mute the actual game audio because, yeah, intro songs to Kingdom Hearts aren't a good thing on YouTube, so I don't want to have the little bit of audio echoing through my microphone and getting picked up by the copyright system. The actual audio you're hearing right now is probably going to be a remix of this song. I just don't know yet. I might actually put something entirely different on it. That would actually be kind of funny in a way. So, spoilers ahead. Quite a few of them. Also, I will be discussing quite a bit about Kingdom Hearts 3 and what we know and what we don't know. And not so much in this game, I suppose. I will not be Let's Playing all the games back to back, probably. But if I ever get to Kingdom Hearts 2 before Kingdom Hearts 3 gets released, I definitely probably will be talking a lot about Kingdom Hearts 3. I'll mention it every now and then here. And altogether, prepare for a lot of spoilers. That being said, if you don't know anything about the series, this still would be worthwhile watching, I suppose, if you just want to get into it. And honestly, let me get some music back. Thank you. Only I'd say just jump in, and if you think, oh, this is way too spoilery, which I'm just warning you just in case, because I'm not going to be thinking about what I talk about here. So I want to have all my grounds covered. It's probably not gonna be very spoilery, and I'm probably not gonna talk a lot over the cutscenes, but I want just to hatch my butts and make sure I can do that, and you guys are aware of me doing that. That being said, if anybody jumps into the series episode 2 or onwards, they probably won't be hearing this, so that'll all be a little bit useless. Another thing I do need to mention before we start here, the length of this video, I don't know what it's going to be. It's probably going to be rather long, and that is because the Pokemon Let's Play I did before this, I did episodes of half an hour, and I kind of still want to do that, but if I did that and also show you all the cutscenes, this is at a 1 video a week rate going to be a very, very long and slow Let's Play. This is an interesting choice. I tend to pick the staff, but since I'm on beginner mode, I think I'll pick the shield here. Because I'll be guarded against a lot of damage anyway by the game being very easy. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do 1 world per episode. Some episodes might be a little iffy because we have to go back to Traverse Town and that's not going to be very interesting, so I might just like combine that with a cop at Olympus Coliseum to just give you about half an hour's worth of content at least. Most episodes are probably going to be between an hour and a half. Meaning that this is still going to be a series which will span about like 15 episodes altogether, I think. Maybe a little bit less. It's not going to be a 100% playthrough. It's just going to be a story playthrough. So maybe closer to 10 or 11 episodes. I mean, we've got Destiny Islands and Traverse Town, 3 other worlds, 4 worlds, so that makes 7, 8. A Hollow Bastion makes 9, and the world is 10, and then some repeat visits. So about... It would be really funny if it was 13 episodes. Which there's a really good chance of it actually being 13 episodes. And some episodes like this first one and the next one in Traverse Town aren't going to be too long compared to some episodes like the one in Hollow Bastion, which might actually be 2 hours long. I'm still going to keep that. I'm not going to like be a cheap motherfucker and say, oh wow, this is way over an hour long and I can cut this up into 2 episodes. And I just will be playing through the entirety of a world and then end of the episode. Hollow Bastion is a little bit of an interesting issue because you go through the entire world, fight 2 boss fights, and then you have to go back and fight another boss fight, and then you go to the end of the world. I probably will be doing the Behemoth fight in the Hollow Bastion episode and not in the end of the world episode, because it is in Hollow Bastion. But you do go back to Traverse Town in the meantime. You see where my issue comes in with cutting up these episodes and how I'm going to do that. We'll think about that when we get to that. I'm not going to bother about, like, those details right now. Right now, we're just doing Destiny Islands, and at the end of this episode, we'll be in Traverse Town. And next episode, we'll be doing Traverse Town, and at the end of that, we'll be in either Wonderland or the Colosseum. Probably Wonderland, because I want to actually be able to beat Cerberus without too much issue. Then again, we are in beginner mode, and oh yeah, we're in beginner mode, so we get a extra EXP enhancing item. We get some defense, strength, and AP up. So I think we'll actually be fine no matter what, because beginner mode in Kingdom Hearts 1 is actually ridiculously easy. Kingdom Hearts 2 and the other games, it's also fairly easy, but in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's actually ridiculous how easy beginner mode is. And seeing as how we're not going to go for a 100% playthrough, the choices coming up are going to be fairly easy. We're just going to be focusing on early game, because we're not going to be very high above like level 50. And these, still after like 15 years, I think I accidentally skipped a part of the cutscene there. It's not really a cutscene. After 15 years of playing this game over and over and over again, I've played this game more times than any other game, I think. I still don't exactly know what these do. I'm pretty sure the top one for every single one of these is focused around early game, middle game, and then end game respectively. So picking the top one at every single one will give you early game boosts, like more abilities. Not actually more abilities, that's based on the things you choose, like sword, shield, and staff. I think this is more the experience curve you go through. So let's just... Maybe the top one is endgame? I don't know. Getting all this definitely has to do with your experience curve. Because getting to level 100 is going to require as many experience either way. Whatever you choose here, any combination, it's going to be the same amount of experience, it's just the curve. Will you level up early game faster or late game faster, respectively? Let's just go with to be strong. I don't fucking know what this does. It doesn't really matter. But somebody who actually does know and is clever with this can actually influence the experience curve and things like that in his favor. And speedrunners, of course, very much need to do that. And I did speedrun this game a couple of times, but it tends to be a little bit too long for me to finish in one sitting. And that's the other thing. If I were to, going back to the length of the episodes, if I were to just play through the game at world record pace, this would still be like a one video a week, still would like take 2 months. I don't know what the world record is at the moment. I think it's like 3 hours and something. It's not sub 3. I think it's 3.5 or so hours. So that would be 7 episodes. At my pace, that would be more akin to like 5 or 5.5 hours. Because I, for one, don't know all the tricks, and for two, I'm just not as good as that. So that would still like take a long time. I think, funnily enough, well, if it's 5.5 hours, that will be 11 episodes, so that would be 11 weeks, which is roughly 3 months, a little bit less actually, more like 2.5 probably. Long story short, we're just gonna have a lot of fun, and the best part, and this is really quite sad that this is the best part for me. Let's use these power-ups. How many did I get? 8 power-ups! And the fans-ups at the start of the game. That is actually insane. The best part for me, and it's really sad that this is a really big deal for me, but naming these episodes is going to be easy. It's just going to be episode 1, Destiny Island, episode 2, Traverse Town. Usually naming, you see, Ribbon reduces all elemental damage dealt by 20%. Really good. And EXP Necklace increases experience gained by 30%. So this is going to be very, very easy going through this in beginner mode, but I'm not wanting to show off any skill I have with this game, because in Kingdom Hearts 1 especially, I don't have a lot of skill. In Kingdom Hearts 2, a little bit more. Still, I won't be doing any Terra level 1 fights anytime soon, but Kingdom Hearts 2, I would say I am above average. Maybe I haven't played it that much in recent years, so maybe I am falling back into the average category because I'm not as good anymore as I was, and maybe other people have gotten much better. And that's not talking about speedrunning, that's just talking about the general ability to play the game properly without like dying and killing bosses fast, and just knowing the mechanics and knowing the feel of the game and the engine and knowing what you can and can't do. Being patient at the right times, recognizing patterns, just knowing the general language of the game. Darkseid. I can't believe this is the first encounter you ever have with Darkseid in the entire series, and up until there's gotta be a Darkseid fight in Kingdom Hearts 3. If there isn't, I'm going to be mad. I mean, in Kingdom Hearts 0.2 though was, which more than one actually. Which those were pretty interesting fights, and it almost felt like a reference, to be honest. And Kingdom Hearts 3 better have a damn good... Actually, I'm just going to have some fun with you. Kingdom Hearts 3 better have a damn good Darkseid boss fight. You see, I'm already level 3 before exiting the tutorial part of the game. Usually, I think defeating Darkseid would give you your first level up, not your second. There's a really stylistic difference between this and, frankly, the rest of the game, but between this game in particular and everything that comes after it. I mean, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is a little bit of a weird thing, because originally it was a GBA game, so stylistically speaking, it had to do things differently, but it is closer to Kingdom Hearts 1 than any other game. But then Kingdom Hearts 2 really went for a different feeling and style in, like, cinematography and storytelling, and then Birth by Sleep and 3D, and to a certain extent the DS games also went with that, though the DS games aren't as well made.
Give me a break, Kairi. Sora,
worry, you lazy bum. I knew that I'd find you snoozing down here.
No, this huge black thing swallowed me up. I couldn't breathe, I couldn't... Ow.
Are you still dreaming?
It wasn't a dream. Or was it? I don't know.
How amazing would it be if Kingdom Hearts 3 ended with that exact same pose, where Sora wakes up and with Kairi hovering above him?
Say, Kairi, what was your hometown like? You know, where you grew up?
I've told you before. I don't remember.
Nothing at all?
Nothing.
You ever want to go back?
Well, I'm happy here.
Really?
But you know, I wouldn't mind going to see it.
I'd like to see it too. Along with any other worlds out there. I want to see them all.
So what are we waiting for?
Hey! Aren't you guys forgetting about me? So, I guess I'm the only one working on the raft.
Ah!
And you're just as lazy as he is.
So you noticed. Okay, we'll finish it together. I'll race you.
Huh?
What? Are you kidding?
Ready? Go!
And about 15 minutes into the game, we are about to see the logo. And that will only get longer and longer as we go along in the series. I wonder, Kingdom Hearts 2 takes about 2 hours to show you a logo. If you watch all the cutscenes and play at it through in a normal pace. Kingdom Hearts 3, how long is it going to take for you to actually get the logo animation? Is it going to be a prologue as long as Roxas? Is that going to be... I think, I would assume and I would like the prologue to be the Realm of Darkness looking for Aqua. Then again, it would make a certain amount more sense if you started with Sora, of course. 2 logs, a cloth, a rope. That's all I need for now, okay? It would make a lot more sense, of course, if you went to Olympus Coliseum as Sora to start with, because that's the part that's been hyped up the most really since ever. And you want to start a game out with being your protagonist, not with being Riku, which, honestly, if I could play the entire game mostly as Riku, I'd be fine with that, because I still do like Riku quite a bit. And, well, Mickey as a side character, which Mickey has always been that secret, elusive character which everyone wanted to play as, but nobody could. I'm talking about 2. At that point, you could play as Mickey in certain boss fights if you died. But having him as a party member would be a real fun thing to start with the game. And I really do hope that the part in the Realm of Darkness isn't just cutscenes while you play as Sora and then you get a cutscene in the Realm of Darkness and all that good stuff. With Riku and Mickey, I think I just need a cloth at this point. Yeah, I think I do. This can be done really, really quickly. I mean, I'm going to fight every single one of these kids just because I want to show you guys. But I could just go to Kairi and that's the end of day 1 on Destiny Islands. It's actually insanely fast. But it would make sense, right? Because they already did it in Kingdom Hearts 2 with Roxas, and they did get a kind of bad reception for that, I'll be honest. So that might scare them off doing that, but it would be kind of nice having the introduction to the game. Have it be the search in the Realm of Darkness, but seeing as how we got on E3 with the trailers, with Aqua ending up how she does, yeah, I can't see that being early game. For some reason, I feel like Riku and Mickey will be spending a lot of the game inside of the Realm of Darkness, and that'll be about the halfway point of the game. It might not also that was the first fight, so this is still going to go fairly quickly. The only thing that's going to be a real issue might be Riku. Well, let's be honest, it probably won't be. So I'm really excited for January 29th, because between January 29th and like January, I don't know, 31st, am I going to complete that entire game? It depends kind of how work intersects with that, but I I want to say I'm going to finish that game in a couple of days if I get a chance, and otherwise I'll take no more than a week to play through the entire story. That much you can be certain of. And that is definitely going to be a Let's Play. I might actually, depending on how long the game takes me, I might make that like a twice a week kind of upload thing. I don't know, I might make it a daily upload thing. Probably not. I'm probably going to split that up into a world and episode as well. Though those worlds are going to be a fair bit longer. It is sad that those worlds are going to be about the same length. And it'll be a little bit more editing because I want to focus a little bit more on the story. But it's sad that those worlds are going to be roughly around the length of 0.2, and that is roughly 2.5 hours. So that would imply that those episodes would be 2.5 hours on average. That's ridiculously low damage he's doing against me. I mean, I don't even have to dodge. I got even more strength. I think, frankly, at this point, Sora has more strength. Let's go to status. Than 17 strength. I think that would usually correlate with like level 10. More, actually. Because I got 8 strength up. And you get a strength up on average every 3 levels, maybe? Every 4 levels? So I'm ridiculously powerful.
So, Kairi's home is out there somewhere, right?
Could be. We'll never know by staying here.
But how far could a raft take us?
Who knows? If we have to, we'll think of something else.
So, suppose you get to another world. What would you do there?
Well, I haven't really thought about it. It's just, I've always wondered why we're here, on this island. If there are any other worlds.
Because plot convenience, obviously, and because Terra, and because Xehanort.
Suppose there are other worlds.
Well, they didn't place you in this island particularly, but you know what I mean.
Then ours is just a little piece of something much greater. So, we could have just as easily ended up somewhere else, right?
I don't know.
Exactly. That's why we need to go out there and find out. Just sitting here won't change a thing. It's the same old stuff. So let's go.
You've been thinking a lot lately, haven't you?
Thanks
Only
to
the
you.
past 10 years.
If you hadn't come here, I probably would have never thought of any of this. Kairi, thanks.
That's the thing with
You're welcome.
having a series spanning like over a decade with so relatively few games. It's going to contradict,
Sora,
at least contextually, a little bit.
you wanted one, didn't you?
A Palpu fruit?
If two people share one, their destinies become intertwined. They'll remain a part of each other's lives, no matter what. Come on, I know you want to try it.
What are you talking?
This scene is clearly aimed at Kairi though, but in Kingdom Hearts 3 that could be reinterpreted as Riku like hinting something towards Sora, and not saying that the world was so differently back in, what was it, 2002 when Kingdom Hearts 1 was released? The world is ready for a gay relationship between the two of them right now. It's 2018. I think we can handle it. And I would much prefer it over Kairi, I'll tell you that much. Yes, I'm one of those people, but honestly, if you're not, you're just like, oh, it's a boy and a girl, so they must end up together. If you just look at the chemistry between Sora and Riku and the chemistry between Sora and Kairi, which isn't there, by the way, it's painfully obvious that Riku and Sora are a way better match. In terms of personality, I'm not talking about that or anything, just the chemistry between them and the character building, and Kingdom Hearts 2 is a infamous example of that. He just, like, is like, oh, Kairi, you're here, hugs. And he just starts crying when he finds out about Riku being there. That's the best contrast you can ever show to an audience, and I'm half convinced at this point that they are going to end up together at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. Or maybe they're not, and it's just going to be implied. Because they don't want to have like any canon relationships. That's possible. I mean, not like Axel and Roxas. People ship those two for no apparent reason. Just because they're good friends. Those are good friends. Sora and Riku, that's something else entirely. At least if you ask me.
Queen Minnie? Daisy? Oh, good morning, ladies.
This, however, is what I call good writing. It's so well executed. I just momentarily lost the ability to speak. It's very well executed. At any rate, yeah, that's the cutscene done, so I can talk freely now. I didn't want to talk over it too much, but I still wanted to mention a couple of things. At any rate, like I said, a while ago I saw a video, and I mean the fights are going to be the same except for the one against Tidus, because you can go 3-on-1, which I'll do that in a second. I saw a video, and I don't remember exactly every detail about it, but it was pretty much like a video on writing and why you should have all the characters in your story always be bisexual. And I was like, oh, well, I want to see that. And it's not because of equality or representation or whatever. It's just, if everyone at all times is considered bisexual, you won't limit yourself in your options with relationships and chemistry. If it ends up being that two characters have a great chemistry, but they are the same gender, who cares if you consider all of your characters in your writing always bisexual? You shouldn't limit yourself in those kinds of things because, oh, but I wrote this character as being straight. First of all, you're a writer. You can change that if you want to. Second of all, if you just assume all of the characters you ever write are always bisexual, you won't limit yourself, and your story and your character development will be better for it. So I really do hope Kingdom Hearts is going that route in Kingdom Hearts 3, because with that philosophy, Sora and Riku makes way more sense. Even in this game, Sora at some point stops looking for Kairi and goes out to look for Riku. He knows Riku is safe, he hasn't seen Kairi yet. Which, that could be the reason he's looking for Riku, because, well, he knows Riku is safe, so might as well look for him first. But that wouldn't make a lot of sense if there's anything romantically going on with Kairi, wouldn't it? Let's talk about the High Wind thing first. Or Excalibur. I don't care what it's named, I mean, and the cutscene coming up where Sora's awkwardly stumbling over sharing the path with Kairi, it could be reinterpreted as Sora being taken aback because he wants to share it with Riku.
I'm captain. And if you win...
I get to share the Palpu with Kairi.
Huh?
Deal? The winner gets to share a Palpu with Kairi.
Wait a minute.
Okay, on my count.
I mean, that could be interpreted as, no, I want to share a pub with Kairi, but that could also be interpreted as, oh, wait a minute, I want to share a pub with you. That was probably not the original intention when writing this, I'm very much aware of that, but that's also part of good writing, using some leads which you accidentally created and going with it. So, honestly, I'm not saying that if that doesn't end up happening, I think Kingdom Hearts 3 won't be worth my time and won't be a good story and won't have good character development and won't be well written. It'll probably be all of those things no matter what happens. I'm just saying, I personally would enjoy it and would think it would be a mark of good writing and, well, just good storytelling if those things did end up happening in that way. And it wouldn't be forced. Some people would think, oh, it's forced because we need to have some gay representation. No, that's not the case. Example, The Legend of Korra, right? That was a little bit forced. In the first season, there was clearly no plans whatsoever to have Korra and Asami end up together. In the second season, definitely not yet. In the third season, maybe they were starting to think about it, but probably not, at least not until the very end. And then in the fourth season, it's painfully obvious that the dynamic has changed a lot. And suddenly there's some like tension going on between the two of them, and well, that's when the relationship starts building. Kingdom Hearts? It would all make sense from Kingdom Hearts 1 onwards, all the way to Kingdom Hearts 3. The way the characters interact, it would make sense if they ended up together. It wouldn't be a certain turning point where they started acting differently towards each other because Nomura figured, well, maybe it would be a good idea to have these two have a gay relationship. No, it just fits naturally with the flow of the narrative. And again, if you just at all times assume everybody in your story is bisexual, this will be the logical conclusion to that. And I think I have been advocating same-sex representation. That's the thing, it's not about representation. It's about what makes sense in your narrative. What the characters... Please, thank you. What the characters are and what they do and how they have acted for the past decade and a half. It's not about representation. I couldn't give less of a shit about representation. I just want a logical, flowing narrative and characters, and that would include Sora and Riku ending up together, and not Sora and Kairi. Then again, I'm talking about this while we see a cutscene of Sora and Kairi as kids drawing each other, and some Palpa Fruit stuff going on. Very much aware of that. I mean, let's be honest, it's probably gonna be Sora and Kairi. I don't know how the vision on that is in Japan, actually. That might have more of an influence than you'd think.
I've come to see the door to this world.
Oh, there we have a time traveler.
This world has been connected.
That's not a retcon whatsoever. Nomura definitely thought about that when writing this part.
Tied to the darkness. Soon to be completely eclipsed.
Well, whoever you are, stop freaking me out like this. Huh? Well, where did you come from?
You do not yet know what lies beyond the door.
Apparently the Kingdom Key D.
So you're from another world.
That's weird.
There is so very much to learn. You understand so little.
Oh yeah? Well, you'll see. I'm gonna get out and learn what's out there.
A meaningless effort. One who knows nothing can understand nothing.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, it's probably going to end up being... Also, I like how there's a little bit of foreshadowing because this is supposed to be Donald Duck, I think. There's some little bit of foreshadowing around here inside of the cave. Let's see, I think there's another thing. That might be Pluto or one of the Dalmatians, I think. These drawings are clearly like spades, hearts, and those other things for Alice in Wonderland. That might be Castle Oblivion already. That's up in the air. Probably isn't. This is just really awkward and weird. Anyway, so there's a couple of fun things around here, which you probably won't be noticing because you're just thinking about the Papu Fruit here. Which, yeah, that does indicate that it's going to be Sora and Kairi, and it probably is going to be, but I personally would prefer it for the narrative. Again, not representation. I can't stress that enough. I don't want it because of, oh, we need more gays. And as I said, I don't know how Japan has its vision towards this issue.
You've gotten stronger, but odds are you're
still no match for Riku.
I beat Riku without any effort.
Won last time. He whipped us all. Well, I guess
Anyhow,
can always count.
so I don't know how open-minded Japan is to this. If Japan is a little bit more uptight about this kind of stuff, it will not happen, probably. If Japan is more open about it, which it might be, I don't know, it could happen. Again, it probably won't, because why would it? Well, I just gave you a lot of reasons why it would. I'll give you one reason why it won't. Corporate people wearing suits. It's honestly that easy. They're just like, no, we need a boy and a girl, because that's how the world works. And again, maybe Japan is actually like more developed in that way than most of the Western countries we live in. I'm assuming that most of the viewers watching this are from the US or Europe. And at that point they might be thinking, oh, that's a good idea. But you would think it would happen more in Japanese media if that were the case. And it doesn't seem to be happening an awful lot. So, oh, for fresh water I still need to talk to Kair. And at that point we will have finished the second day. And then we can go to the third day, which is night. Do a boss fight, and that'll be the first episode. So the first episode will be done within like 45 minutes in total. That's faster than I thought, actually. I know roughly how long these worlds take if you don't consider the cutscenes as part of it. I have no idea if you consider the cutscenes as part of it, how long every world takes. Because, again, I was into the speedrunning scene for this for a little while, not very long. I watched some speedruns, I attempted a couple, more or less, but that gave me good enough of an idea to know a rough approximation of how long a world takes. Also, this. Why didn't anybody fix this? I think those camera angles and that dialogue is actually Final Mix exclusive. I'm pretty sure it is. I can't be sure, but I think so.
You know, Riku has changed.
What do you mean?
Well,
I mean, obviously at this point you can tell it's painfully obvious they're still building up Sora and Kairi
Sora,
very much.
let's take
Especially
the
this
road.
early on into this
just the two
game.
of us.
Huh?
Just kidding.
What's gotten into you? You're the one that's changed, Kairi.
Maybe.
But that's the thing, they start to build it up. Sora and Riku actually builds through the series.
I'm ready.
Anyway, you guys probably are tired of me
No
talking
matter where
about
I
this.
go or what I see, I know I can always come back here. Right?
Yeah, of course.
That's good. Sora, don't ever change.
Huh?
I just can't wait.
Don't become a Xehanort.
Once we set sail, it'll be great.
I still think it's... I mean, the writing hasn't improved over the Kingdom Hearts series, especially in Dream Drop Distance. Holy shit, that's convoluted. But I still think it makes no sense for Sora to be chosen to be one of the Darknesses, because Xehanort remarks him as that ordinary dull boy. So it's not like he's like, oh damn, wait a second, we've got a true dangerous enemy here. And we could have him on my side. He'd be a powerful ally and he wouldn't be in our way. But that's not how Xehanort sees him.
What could this mean? It means we'll just
It's how he sees
trust
Aqua,
the
possibly.
Gorge, I sure
Not how he sees
know,
Sora.
right?
So why Sora?
Don't worry. We'll find it.
Why not Donald? For Xehanort, there's probably not a lot of difference between Donald and Sora, other than the fact that Sora has a Keyblade. But that's not a requirement in the slightest to be part of the organization, because Sayax, Sigbar, now Luxor and Lorexane, Samus has been hinted to maybe be able to wield a Keyblade, but just doesn't. Ansem could be set the same for, I suppose.
We hope for your safe return. Please help the kid.
So far, the only ones in the new organization that can wield a Keyblade are Old Xehanort and Young Xehanort, and possibly Terranort. Okay, and Aquanaut. Fair enough.
Gosh, Jiminy, your world disappeared too? It was terrible. We were scattered. And as far as
Oh,
I can
damn,
see,
I'm getting messages. I'm getting messages. I think it's an important one.
Oh, right. I gotcha. You mean while we're in other worlds, we can't let on where we're from, huh? We gotta protect the world border.
It wasn't an important one.
Right. World border. Oh, I guess we'll need new
It wasn't an important one whatsoever. I mean, I can't go into details because privacy of people, but it was not an important message whatsoever. But the only thing I read in the notification was, oh god, oh god, oh god, or oh shit, I don't even know what it says. It's pretty much the same to me. It's a shame I'm going to have to go through these gummy ship missions Kingdom Hearts 1 style, because the Kingdom Hearts 1 gummy ships aren't very good. Kingdom Hearts 2, they're pretty good. Kingdom Hearts 3, they look amazing. Kingdom Hearts 1, I wouldn't mind not doing them ever again. That's not true. They're decent enough. But compared to what came after, which holds true for this entire game pretty much, it's not bad, it's good. But what came after it is just downright better. At some points it's not better, just different, I suppose. But mostly it is better. As far as humor goes, this game takes the fucking cake. It's the funniest game in the series, by far. As just demonstrated with that joke. Kingdom Hearts 2, not as funny as this one. Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, not funny at all. Holy shit, that is a depressing game. Kingdom Hearts 3D, way too serious. There's hardly any jokes at all. It's just serious plot development. This game actually has some lightheartedness to it, which I do enjoy that. And I think, honestly, this is the most well-written story and character development in the series.
Once we set sail, it'll be great.
A storm? Oh no!
Well,
The raft!
I got another message from somebody else on an entirely different app. And I got... Okay, so apparently people decided, like, roughly 5 minutes before the end of this episode, let's start messaging this dude.
What's that? Riku's boat! And Kairi's!
I'm trying to do 5 things at once, I can't do that. I'm trying to read 2 conversations at the same time and play this game and do commentary at the same time. That's not 5 things, that's 4 things.
Where's Kairi? I thought she was with you.
The door is open.
What?
The door is open, Sora. Now we can go to the outside world.
What are you talking about? We've got to find Kairi.
Kairi's coming with us. Once we step through, we might not be able to come back. We may never see our parents again. There's no turning back. But this may be our only chance. We can't let fear stop us. I'm not afraid of the darkness.
We kind of noticed, Riku. That had some major implications, by the way, you not being afraid. And that is how it all started, the Keyblade. It's so weird to think about that that's supposed to be Riku's Keyblade. I mean, the Way to Dawn is a way better Keyblade, and his new khaki blade will take some getting used to for sure, but I don't hate it. People tend to hate it, I don't. I actually think it looks quite cool, but then again, I am a huge fan of Fenrir, and it looks a lot like a less beat up version of Fenrir, and why am I beating up these shadows? I don't need to grind for levels. People say fighting Waka is a really good way of grinding up levels at the Destiny Islands, and while it might be the case before this part, if you clear the entire island and go back into this shack over here, all the fucking shadows will respawn. It's really good and really quick grinding, guys. It'll get you a good amount of levels in no time flat. So if you want to grind, do it there. Because it's easier, it's quicker, it's more convenient, it's just better than Waka.
Sora.
Then again, Waka is literally the first opportunity you have to grind, so... The one guy that went to level 100 against Waka before doing anything else in the game. That's insane. Will be a lot quicker against the shadows, I'll tell you that much. Still would take a long time, but it'd be a lot quicker. And there we go, Dark Side again, waiting for you in Kingdom Hearts 3, mate. You're gonna be dead before you can say Kingdom Hearts 3. Okay, maybe not because I just literally said it and you're still not dead. Okay, now you are. I learned Sliding Dash. Probably one of the more useful abilities in the game, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's starting to be about that time where I, well, there's another cutscene coming up and then I'll actually done another one. There's actually quite a bit left before I can save and end of this episode.
Look, a star's going out.
This is never touched upon again, that the fact that stars are actually different. Well, it is in Birth by Sleep and Offhand Common. But it's just kind of forgotten, like stars going out being worlds sucked into the realm of darkness. Never really mentioned again. Not in a major way at least, and here it seems like it's going to be a big deal.
Hey, you know,
Nope,
maybe
nope it isn't.
finally on.
I suppose Kingdom Hearts was still looking for an identity at this point in its lifespan, which you can't be blamed for because its identity gets shaped throughout the first game. So at the start of the first game, it's just looking around a little bit. And in that way you can see the world building is done around the story rather than the story being placed inside a world that is being built. It's not like Lord of the Rings where the world is being built and then the stories fit into it. It's the other way around, which is a pretty good way of doing world building still. It's just... you can tell, especially after playing this game so many times. And that will lead to retcons, naturally.
Where am I? Oh,
Or
boy.
plot devices just being dropped.
Do you know where we are? Hey!
I like how there's just a fat dude up there, by the way, so you're forced to go this way. You'll be gone in literally like a couple of seconds. This is totally weird, I'm in another world, you don't say. So I think we've got a little conversation here with Sid, and then we can save and end of this episode. So let's just mash through this. Can I just skip this? No, I can't skip this as a cutscene. Traverse Town. I still don't get why he calls Sid Gramps, he's not that old. And Sid himself says, hey, I'm not that old, which, that's fair, he isn't. So, thank you all so much for watching this first episode of my Let's Play Kingdom Hearts. Next episode is probably going to be a fair bit shorter because Traverse Town is a little bit confusing, so usually it would take you about another hour to go through, but if you know what you're doing, it's a fair bit shorter. There's a lot of cutscenes next time, because Leon, Yuffie, and Aerith are going to be explaining quite a lot of exposition about Ansem and the Heartless and the Keyblade. So that's going to be I think like 5 or 6 minute long cutscene probably. And there's going to be a couple more little cutscenes. Mostly, next episode is going to be probably like 35-ish minutes. It's going to be rather quick. Until then though, do not forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. After an hour of talking, I'm not used to talking for this long. You know what to do. The things below this video, there's like thumbs up and there's a comment, and let me know what you think about this format and this new series and stuff, and subscribe and hit that bell icon, and you know what to do. Bye.